Hello, everybody. It is me, 7thHanuman. It's been a while since I did a live stream. I know it's late, but I saw a video on King Mansa, and I knew I have to make a live stream and talk about it because it it gave me insight on why some TIs will go to the extreme when they are very nice people. And watching King Mansa's video connect a dot for me, and I will explain as I show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is a video he uploaded earlier today, and right around the middle of the video, he said something that's very interesting, and it connected a dot for me. So I will play it and explain it afterwards.
That's basically what they doing. You get into a social environment, everybody gotta attack you. Why the fuck you go to an event, you go to a party with 300 people at a party or 20 people at a party or get together, and why the fuck is it 20 people in one get together harassing one person? And why do 20 people in one room feel like that's okay? Nobody have enough sympathy and empathy to be like, maybe I should just leave this man alone, or maybe I should leave this girl alone. Everybody feel like they gotta attack you because of what they see strength. You understand?
Now I've been following King Mansa for a while, and he's a very smart person. He's very outspoken and he's smart. He has a lot of potential to be a great TI. The one thing I have to say is what he's missing is making the connection on exactly who the gang stalkers are. His gang stalkers are a piece of shit, and they've been messing with him for a long time. So in this video, he explained that going to a social event or a party and there'll be 300 or 30 people in the entire room mocking him, making fun of him, or talking about him. Right away, I already know no one in the room is talking about him. What he's talking about is he's hearing environmental voice to skull. And these people talking, okay, these quote unquote entities, I call them entities, aliens, they usually talk when he's got his back to the people, or he'll hear them from a distance in the room. So might be coming from at the corner of the room where he's not looking. So usually he's out of his sight, so he doesn't get to see the people's lips moving. Or usually the people will walk by him. As soon as they walk by, he'll hear these harassment behind him. So right away, I already knew that his shitty piece of shit gang stalkers are messing with him with the environmental voice to skull. And King Mansa have not yet recognized this. That is the one connection he's missing. If he can make that connection, he's going to be a very good TI because he is very outspoken. He's very smart. I made comments in the past on his videos, but he just ignored me. I don't know if he actually answered to people, but I have tried to communicate with him, and this is the first time I make a video regarding what's happening in his life based off of the video that he just uploaded. And another thing I noticed about this video, that something I never saw before, was this strange darkness that's hovering around his head. Now I will enlarge this video just for maybe a few seconds, and you will know what I'm talking about. Hold on, let me do this. Now, if you watch just above around his head, you'll notice there's this darkness going in and out. Here, I'll play it for you.
Understand? People see strength, they don't see weakness. Nobody have enough sympathy or empathy with 300 people at a party or 20.
Now, I don't know how good you can see it, but pay attention to his backdrop around his head. There's like this darkness that goes in and out. That's something I never seen before in his previous videos.
20 people at a party or get together, and why the
You see
fuck
like
is
a
it
dark
20 people
aura
in
around
one
his
get
head.
together harassing
There's like
one
the
person?
light aura.
Why do 20 people in one room feel like that's okay? Nobody have enough sympathy or empathy to be like, maybe I should just leave this man alone, or maybe I should leave this girl alone. Everybody feel like they gotta attack you because of what they see strength. You understand? People see strength, they don't see weakness.
Did you see that? If you look around his head, okay, you see like an aura. You see an aura. You notice an aura around his head. And then right outside the aura, there is this darkness that's hovering around him. I've never seen that before in any of his video. So this is also something new that for the first time, I've seen this on another TI. And based off of what he's saying, that he believes that when he goes to a party with 30 people and everyone in the room's talking about him, that made me realize that maybe he somewhat needs to step back a little bit and just he needs to realize that so what if people are talking about him? Because for years I've been following him and he always talk about when he goes outside, there's police sirens, there's people following him, there's kids going to the area where he's working out. All that stuff, it's bothering him to a point where he just gets frustrated. Now, many years later, he's talking about how when he goes to a party, everyone's there at the party is talking about him. So to me, that is just like he's kind of at the danger zone. He's letting those things bother him to a point now he's just so stressed out. I don't know if it has anything to do with this aura, but you can obviously see there's an aura, there's light around his head, and then there's darkness outside of that hovering over him. Here, I'll play it. Just pay attention. Here we go.
At a party or 20 people at a party or get together, and why the fuck is it 20 people in one get together harassing one person? And why do 20 people in one room feel like that's okay? Nobody have enough sympathy or empathy to be like, maybe I should just leave this man alone, or maybe I should leave this girl alone. Everybody feel like they gotta attack you because of what they see strength. You understand? People see strength, they don't see weakness. Just because let this vehicle go by. This is what I be talking about. They don't want this message to get across. They don't want y'all to know the truth.
Did you see that? The darkness hovering over his head? I don't know what that means, but it doesn't. It's something I've never seen before in any of his videos. And my opinion, okay, I don't know for sure, but just my opinion, it's and based off of what he's saying, he needs to relax a bit because it feels like, that's to me, it kind of seems like that's how people all of a sudden go into a place and start doing horrible things. Okay, I'm not saying he's going to do it, but any TI have the potential to do something stupid, including myself. And we are the most vulnerable when we are upset. When we're angry, that's exactly what those shitty gang stalkers want. When we're angry, that's when they're going to send us ideas to do things that we would not do when we're at peace or when we're calm. So all TIs need to be careful when you're upset. And these gang stalkers, they do things to piss the TI off. I mean, all TIs talk about it. It's frustrating. So a lot of TIs are always battling those type of situations, and try to stay calm is difficult. But you have to learn how to stay calm. And when we're upset, that's when we do stupid things. And it seems like King Mansa is always upset about what's going on in his life. And he's a smart person, and his situation is different from mine. I got to really chill with my situation because of my living situation. And from what I understand, based on his living situation, and since he's in New York City with a lot of people, his situation is a lot more difficult than mine. And based off of the things I'm saying, he might not understand or he might disagree. But I'm trying to help him and try to share a different perspective. Maybe he will accept the information, or maybe he will not. But hopefully, this information will help him later on down the road, because he could use it. And as soon as he can make the connection and realize that the people that he's been talking about all these years are not the gang stalkers, they are the entities, these blob, the halo, you call it. I call it the halo. They're the one that's messing with him by feeding him ideas and directing his focus. So when he always talks about, oh, there's a siren, there's police cars, there's cars driving by, and it's always trying to interrupt his videos. That is the gang stalkers, his dumpster stain gang stalkers, directing his focus to the sirens. See, for me, when I go out and there's sirens, I don't think about gang stalking. I mean, that stuff was long in the past for me. I don't think about that stuff. My gang stalkers don't even try to do that no more, because they already know I already moved on past that. But for the TIs that are still stuck and believing in it, these dumpster stain gang stalkers will keep using that tactic. As soon as the siren goes by, it will direct King Mansa's attention and focus to the sirens. And since the siren, King Mansa believe it's gang stalking related, well, the following thought that comes in after directing his attention to the sirens, the following thought would be gang stalking. And if King Mansa don't know how to change his thoughts and get out of it, he'll probably spend the next 10, 20 minutes thinking about gang stalking. And if he's easily irritated, he'll most likely be upset and irritated, thinking that the siren was there to disrupt his videos. But he's got to understand, since he's living in New York, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on. The 911 line's probably going off constantly. I mean, there's going to be sirens. But he has gotten to a point where he believes the sirens were put there to interrupt his videos. And that, to me, it's too extreme. And let's just say, even if they were put there, okay, let's just say they were even put there for him. What can he do about it? He can't do anything about it, so might as well just ignore it. Don't even talk about it on his video. Don't even mention it. Because every time he talks about it, he's allowing it to take his focus and direction away from whatever he's doing. And when a car with, a loud exhaust drive by, usually he'll make a comment like about the car. And it has gotten to him because he let those thoughts, let the seed of those negative thoughts plant it into his head. So the way for him to get out of it is he's going to have to let it go. He's going to have to let those sounds go and don't let it bother him. And over time, who knows how long, depends on how much he understands this concept. Over time, maybe a few months, that tactic will not work on him no more. Because if you follow King Mansa, you watch his videos, he'll always talk about the cars. When he's making videos, he'll talk about the people coming towards him, and little kids coming out over and play by it, where he's working out, where he's like chilling. I mean, he's at a park. He's got to realize when you're at a park, a public park, there's going to be people there. And it's a public space. And he's got to realize he can't let those things bother him, because that's exactly what the gang stalkers want. They want him to be upset. They want him to be pissed off. And when he's pissed off, that's when the gang stalkers can send him ideas to do things that he normally wouldn't do. So it's very important for all you TIs out there to realize that. Don't let your shitty gang stalkers, I know they're all piece of shit, don't let them mess with you like that. They're not the people in public. They are an entity. Something that the scientific community, the science community do not understand. They don't even know about these things. But the TIs that are experiencing it, some of the TIs will know, while other TIs are struggling to find out. A lot of TIs, when they talk about harassment in the community or out in public, they're just experiencing environmental voice to skull. But these things are directing the sound to the TI and making the TI focus on it. Because as soon as the TI hears someone talking about the TI, well, that whole direction of the TI's concentration was directed towards that harassment. Because imagine if you're just at a baseball game, and you're just walking around when there's a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of conversations. And normally a person will not focus on the specific of those content of the conversation. But when the gang stalkers are at work, the TI will focus on some conversation that's at a distance, but the TI will always get the ideas that, oh, they're talking about the TI. And when the TI focus on that conversation at a distance, the TI can pick up content of the conversation that are definitely talking about that TI. That's because that's one of their tactics. It's the environmental voice to skull. And it's not just voice to skull. These gang stalkers also have the ability to make actual sound that everybody can hear it. Just like how I reference, I believe every person on this planet is a targeted individual. That's why everyone can pick it up. And us true TIs are the one we're being messed with. And we can hear them better than other people. But I truly believe every human on this planet is a targeted individual. They just don't realize it. And if you're a true TI and you're going through this, you need to figure out a way to not get pissed off. You need to figure out a way to realize that these gang stalkers are not human. They are the halos. And these halos, just like all things in this universe, or at least on this planet, there's good and there's evil. They both coexist, good and evil. So when you see halos on Jesus Christ's head, you would assume that it's a good halo. But when that halo is doing something bad, you wouldn't know if that halo is doing anything bad. You would only assume the halo's good because it's on the head of Jesus Christ or some historical figure. But when that halo is doing something bad, you really wouldn't know. So my point is, these halo, they can do good and they can do evil. And as a gang stalker, these halos, they're messing with the TI. And sometimes they'll push the TI to their death. Sometimes they'll push the TI to commit mass murders. But if you think about it, there's more mass murders than actual true targeted individual committing mass murders. So for skeptics that are talking about how TIs are they're most likely going to be mass murderers, well, if you do some research, I would believe that a lot of those mass murders are done by people that never realized they were TIs. And since I believe every human's a TI, that's how those people get the ideas to commit these crimes to end up really doing it. Because it all come from a negative idea, right? To commit mass murder, it comes from a seed, a negative idea in their head. And these negative ideas are not generated by that human. They are actually induced into the mind of the person. Now, if the person gets the idea to mass murder, of course, the person, most people would, well, I can't speak if they actually get those thoughts because I don't get those thoughts. But if a person gets those thoughts, I would assume a person would just kind of not think about it, or maybe think a little bit into it and then just stop thinking about it. But if a person is really pissed off for whatever reason, the person's angry, well, that person is very vulnerable during that moment. And it depends on how angry the person is and what happened leading up to it. And then the ideas that planted into the person's head at that moment. And if the person is angry enough, more ideas could be planted, induced into the person's head to lead the person really into grabbing their guns and really go committing these crimes. So there are cases where it's not premeditated, but then there are other cases where it's been a long time premeditated. But all these negative ideas, all these negative seeds are planted or induced into their mind by an outer force. And I believe it comes from these halos. They are in the environment. And they're good and there's evil. So for TIs, like for the true TIs, we are receiving a lot of negative ideas, right? When TIs believe, oh, it's the neighbors and it's the people in public and it's all these different color cars, different color bags. All those are negative ideas. They're all negative thoughts, negative seeds, and they're induced into the TI's head. And over a period of time, if the TI have not figured out that they are not the people, then that TI, it's really needs help. It needs divine intervention. It could use a good intervention to hopefully maybe alter the way he's thinking and make him realize that, wow, there are a lot of negative thoughts being planted into his or her head. And he or she needs to figure out a way to stop thinking into it. See, that's something I always teach. And so this day, I have not figured out how to block these negative thoughts from coming in. But what I have learned is I can't block them from coming into my head, but I can stop myself from thinking about them. So as soon as a negative thought comes into my head, I do not think into it. Once in a while, one might slip, my awareness, and I might think a few seconds into it, but I don't spend 10 minutes thinking about it. I don't spend 20 minutes thinking about it. I know some TIs would spend hours thinking about it. There are people out there who can spend hours thinking about these negative thoughts, continually thinking about it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then after they eat lunch, another event happened and they'll spend another 15 minutes thinking about it. And then after dinner, something else happened and they'll spend another hour thinking about it. So they'll end up spending 2 hours throughout the day casually thinking about all these negative thoughts. And then the next day, same thing happened, maybe 30 minutes. The following day, same thing happened, maybe an hour. So after 7 days in a week, that TI could end up spending a good 5 to 10 hours thinking about negative thoughts. And that's only 1 week. So if you do this for years, that will wear you down. And all those negative seeds is filling up all this space in your head. And there's just not enough positive thoughts to counter it. So it's mostly filled with negative thoughts, believing people out in public are gang stalkers, and believing the government somehow gets away with it. Government's paying for all this. It's like repetition. Kept constantly thinking about that over a year or 2 years. That's a lot of negative energy inside the TI's head. And like I said, okay, for King Mansa, he lives in New York with a lot of people, so it's a lot tougher for him. But the first thing he's going to have to realize is to relax and start telling himself to not let those things in public bother him. If a car drives by with loud exhaust, his dumpster saying gang stalkers will try to take his focus and make him focus onto the sound. Right away, he's going to need to recognize that and don't think about it. No longer think into it. Don't think about the sound no more. Don't put the sound and the gang stalking together. So just ignore it. And then when he hears sirens, they're going to try to direct his focus to the siren and also, oh, gang stalking. They're messing with you. He's going to need to recognize that and stop thinking about gang stalking when he hears sirens. He's going to need to stop thinking about how his neighbors are staying at home all day long, his roommates, and they're constantly spying on him. When he goes to the restroom, they're outside the room, the door, on the other side of the door, spying on him. If that's the case, he's going to need to put up camera on the outside. If he can't afford a camera, then he needs to just let it go. I mean, he's living there. If he's believing they're spying on him, he probably also have thoughts that there's hidden cameras all over the place. Embrace it then. Walk around naked, in his room, walk around like he doesn't give a damn. Just don't care. Who cares? That's what he's going to need to do to let it go, because he's living at a place where he believes his roommates are gang stalkers. When he goes out, he believes people in public are gang stalkers. And now he's talking about going to parties and believe everyone at the party are gang stalkers. I mean, he's very smart, but his shitty gang stalkers are really pushing him to that point where he's got nowhere to go almost. And now, tonight, I saw this darkness hovering around his aura. So I will play one more time and for all of you to see in this video. Here, let me see if I can enlarge this video. 1 second. All right, I'm going to play this, but I'm going to turn off the volume. Now pay attention to around his head. See, around his head, you'll see this light color, like an aura around his head. Look on the right side of his head. On this screen, on the right of the screen, you'll see there's this lighter color, and then outside the lighter color, you'll see a darker color. So I'm going to play it. You're going to see this darkness kind of hovering around his aura. Here we go. Do you see that? Like, do you see there's like an aura around his head and there's some darkness hovering over it? So this is something new that I just recognized. And I knew it's something that's different. And based off of what he's saying, I just have to make a video about this. So I hope King Mansa will watch this video, and I hope it'll give him a different perspective on what's happening, and I hope he can relax and just recognize that he needs to stop letting these things bother him, because for years now he's been doing this, and now I noticed it's getting worse, because I know King Mansa is very smart and he has a charisma. He can actually, like, he's right, he has a lot of potential in, and he can do a lot of amazing things. And I'm just making this video to help him and also other TIs who watch this, and I hope you understand that being angry is not a good thing. And also, I recently realized that, when you're pissed off, sometimes when a person's pissed off, they'll have this surge of energy where like, oh, like he or she don't give a damn about who's gonna confront him or her. You know what I'm talking about? Like that energy, like when you're pissed off and you're like, I don't care who's gonna step in front of me, I'm gonna beat their ass, whatever. Like, I don't care about that, like that powerful surge of an energy where you just don't care about anything else. Sorry about that. And that energy is actually bad. That whole I don't care who's gonna step in front of me, don't mess with me right now, because I'm pissed. That energy is actually not good. Even though it feels powerful, okay? That's a powerful energy. But that is also the energy that can get people into trouble. I know this because in the past I've gotten upset over my shitty gang stalkers, and I would be screaming at the top of my lungs, talking trash to them, looking up into the sky, just wherever the direction of the environmental voice to skull would come in, I would talk trash into that direction. And I would feel powerful, like an energy that feels great. But that is also the moment when I'm vulnerable, because let's face it, there's no way I can't be like, oh, I don't care who's gonna step up. Anyone that talks to me, I'm gonna talk right back to them. Like, that's a dangerous situation, and TIs need to watch out for those situations. So that surge of energy, that powerful energy, it will get people into trouble. So I hope all TIs out there will recognize this next time they're upset for whatever reason, and then be careful out there, because these gang stalkers love to send in bad ideas when a person's pissed off, and this can happen to any one of us. Thank you for listening. Have a good night, everybody. Shim Hong signing out.